Hi, my name is Dr. Deborah Sim. I'm the principal of Charis International School. I'm also a retired professor from the University of Malaysia. Before I tell you about our school at Charis International School, let me first welcome you to Malaysia, to Sabah and to Tawau. The majority of flights from us overseas would come and arrive in Malaysia at Kuala Lumpur. But let me first tell you who we are at Charis International School. We would like to think of ourselves as a community of learners. Here we are in Charis International School, which is shown in the building on the right side. The community of learners consists of not just the students, but also the parents and the teachers and the neighborhood as well. And in these, we have the communities where the students and the parents at home, the students and the teachers at school, and the parents and teachers forming the Parent-Teachers Association, together working to help our students to learn. And of course, field trips and internship program to the neighborhood also helps to enrich their learning. On top of that, we would like to connect our learners in our school with the world outside, because now the world is actually flat. So we've introduced two programs called the Global Perspectives and STEAM Robotics to help to connect the students with the world outside. Who are we? In our Charis International School, our teachers consist of 20 full-time and 8 part-time teachers. Of the 20 full-times, we have 1 international teachers at this moment. And of these 28 teachers, 26 of them are degree holders, 2 PhD, 2 masters, and 2 professional. We have a very good ratio of 1 teacher to about 2 to 3 students. And we are supported by 3 admin staff at this moment. Just to show that teachers themselves are also learners, so we take part in professional development workshops. We attend courses in person or online, and some of us are still pursuing further degrees. So these are some of the photographs taken during the workshop. These are in-house training. We also go out and attend external courses and also online courses as well. Now let me tell you a little bit about what we do at Charis International School. The vision of our school is to nurture world changers, and we do this through holistic growth and development. The mission of our school includes providing an internationally recognized education to mature intellectual, physical, social, as well as emotional growth aspect. We also like to guide characters development, as can be seen in our school emblem. The lion actually represents courage. We want to instill moral uprightness. As can be seen also, we want to develop their leadership skills. And last of all, recently also developed this core values called charisma. We Charisians pledge to be, first, caring leaders who lead in front, beside, and behind. We are happy doers who do what we love and love what we do. We are appreciative receivers who are grateful, respectful, and thoughtful. We are also responsible scholars who say it, mean it, and do it right. We want to be also innovative facilitators who help others to explore, to process, and to co-create knowledge. Being an education center, we would like our students and ourselves to be self-regulated learners who self-plan, self-monitor, self-instruct, and self-reinforce. Even for students, we will want to encourage them to become mature mentors who then restrain themselves, they don't impose their own ideas on others, nurtures others, and flourish together. Lastly, Charisma stands for we are also acceptive members who accept differences, embrace changes, and think global. Let me tell you a little bit about our program in our school. From the age of 4 to 6 years old to the age of 15 and 16-year-olds, we have program for you in our school. First, they can enter into the kindergarten at the age of 4 and then proceed to our primary program at the age of 6, then to the lower secondary program at the age of 12, to the international IGCSE program at the age of 15. For the kindergarten program, the approach is Montessori approach. Primary to the IGCSE program, we use the Cambridge program. The Charis International Kindergarten, being Montessori's approach, use a lot of play approach in the learning. And in the primary program, the same subjects are being offered in the lower secondary. We have the subjects, the core subjects of English, maths, and science. And then we've introduced recently global perspectives. We have also Chinese and Malay language, physical education, computing, art, music, STEAM, and the moral education or agama for the Muslims. And then in the IGCSE program, we have more subjects for them to choose. At year 6, at the end of the primary program, there are exams conducted by Cambridge, the primary checkpoint. And then at the end of year 9 program, we have the lower secondary checkpoints. And finally, the exit of our school's program is the IGCSE exam at year 11. This table shows our school academic calendar. We start in August or September and we end in July. The school year is divided into 3 parts or 3 terms. The first term runs from about August to November, December. And then the second term will run from January to about April. And the last term, the term 3, would run from April to July. We can see in this chart here, our academic calendar is divided, as I said, 3 terms. But in addition to these in-house assessment, we also have the external assessment run by Cambridge, as I mentioned earlier. You can see here the checkpoint at year 6 would normally occur around about April for our school. And also for the year 9 checkpoint is also about April. Then the year 11 IGCSE exam will be conducted between May to June, this 2-3 months. If for some reasons the students would like to repeat the exams, they are allowed to do so. And the opportunity will come if they want to improve their grades or try something else different, would be in the August, September would be the checkpoints. And then in October, November would be the IGCSE exam as well. Here is a weekly timetable for the secondary school students. Every week we start on Monday with a morning assembly. For the primary school students, they will end at 3 o'clock. But for the secondary students, they will go on to 4 o'clock. So just let me tell you a little bit about our core and extracurriculum activities. As I mentioned earlier, in the midweek, Wednesday, we have club, which takes up 1 period. And the clubs consist of topics like Japanese, English, Chinese, storytelling, handbell choir, STEAM robotic, tech phantom, chess, leaderonomic, interact club, etc. On Friday, we have a session called the Charis Fellowship Hour. And this is 1 hour. Just before they go on to the Friday club in the afternoon, which will take place around about 1:30 until 3 o'clock or 3:30. These are often take place outside the school. So we have clubs like swimming, table tennis, badminton, archery, volleyball, hiking, baking, cooking, glee clubs, movie making, dance club, drama, etc. In addition to these weekly activities, we also have special events. For example, we have International Days, we have Maths and ICT Day, we have Chinese New Year or Hari Raya celebration, Language Week, which includes either the English, Chinese or Malay, as well as Hygiene Week and many others as well. Let me now tell you a little bit about how we teach. Being an international school attached to Cambridge program, we are also to train our students to adopt the Cambridge attributes of learner. So as a Cambridge learner, we want our students to be confident in working with information and ideas. Our students should be responsible for themselves, responsive to and respectful of others. They should be also a reflective learner, developing ability to learn by themselves. Our Cambridge learners are also innovative and equipped for new and future challenges. Lastly, as a Cambridge learner, we should be intellectually and socially ready to make a difference, being engaged in many ways of our learning. In our program in the school, we focus on student learning instead of teacher teaching. So we want our students to be student-centered in learning instead of teacher-centered. So we increase interactive learning and we reduce didactic teaching, which is the older-fashioned way of learning things. So being student-centered, our students learn things by discovering rather than by teacher drilling students in order to memorize facts and then regurgitating them. As what Professor Peter Doherty said, what you should be doing at the university particularly is to learn how to think, not just what to think, which tends to be the focus in many schools. We want our students to know so much about what to think instead of knowing how to process information and think things through. In the modern world, with all the technologies, they can get information so easily. So what is important for them is, what do they do with this information? They need to know how to process the information, and that's what we focus on in our school. We have recently introduced this subject called Global Perspectives. Cambridge Global Perspectives is a program that focuses not on the contents, but on the process of learning. It emphasizes on 6 transferable skills that the student have to master. And these 6 transferable skills are research, analysis, evaluation, communication, collaboration, and reflection. Out of these 6 skills, 3 of them I would say are important, particularly for problem solving, such as the research, analysis, and evaluation. And the other 3 skills are particularly important for building relationship with people. These are the communication, collaboration, and reflection. This program takes the transdisciplinary approach. In other words, it doesn't have a particular discipline in mind. It may include topics that are from English subjects, history, geography, science, or maths. They are all put together, an integrated approach to learning, which is important. And the topics are often related to current world events. So that's why it's global. For example, they look at climate change. They look at the problem of infections, pandemic issues, poverty, migrations. And these topics are viewed from personal, local, and global perspectives. I know when I was teaching in university, very often our students do not have their own views. They often ask, what do the teachers think? What do the lecturers, what do the professors think? They dare not have their own views. And this is the part where we want our students to change. So we often force our students to think, what do you think first? Your personal view. Then what do the other people in our local communities think about this issue? And then we think about what about people in other parts of the world think about these issues. So they look at the same issues from three perspectives: personal, local, and global. Let me give you some examples of how our students learn this. So these are photographs taken for our year 1 to 2 students working on a global perspectives challenge on the topic of why is soil important. And for this, they actually do go out to the field to collect soils, different types of soil. They look at them, look at their property, feel them, and they come in and they find ways to find out what is inside the soil. Using different methods, they discover that soil contains water, contains air, and contains living things and non-living things as well. And then they do experiments to find out why is plant important for soil, and why is soil important for plants, and how that is connected with the erosion, landslide, deforestation, and all these issues. And then even at year 1 and 2, they would stand in front and present what they have found. What about year 3 and year 4? This is here, these students doing a project on the challenge called Can We Use Less? In this global perspectives challenge, the students are looking at how can we reduce waste that is actually causing pollution in the environment. They look at how we can recycle things, reuse things, reduce things, the usage of things. In that way, they can actually help to preserve the environment and keep it green. And look at then also the year 5 and 6, these are primary students. They look at how communication has changed over the decades. And they look at how people communicated with each other 30, 40 years ago. They would go back home and ask their parents, their grandparents, how did you communicate with people when you were my age? And then they now look at themselves and say, how do we communicate with people now? And they would then even consider in the future, how would 30 years later my children would communicate with each other? So these are very interesting way of learning. So apart from global perspectives, we have also introduced STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And in recent years, they've also added art to it. So that becomes now STEAM. In STEAM robotic, this particular way of learning is also an example of transdisciplinary approach of learning. It doesn't focus on a particular discipline. It integrates all the different disciplines to put them together for us to see how knowledge nowadays are integrated. For example, you look at this. A great deal of creativity is required to make scientific breakthroughs. When we design science experiments, we often have to think out of the box. And at the same time, art itself is as often an expression as it is a product of scientific knowledge. When we draw things, we look at perspectives. We look at how things which are far further away in distance will look smaller than things which are nearer to us. And there is a scientific way of looking at these things. STEAM robotic club example here, we have how the students are actually making an air-powered car. So in this, it's very much a hands-on. They build the air-powered car themselves, following instruction step by step. And at the end, the teacher would also explain to them how this works. Because we don't want the students to be just having some fun, making models, and not understanding the principles behind what they are doing. So in this here, they learn about how chemical energy in the battery is converted to electrical energy and then converted to mechanical energy. Here are the year 5 and the year 6 proudly showing their products. Now, when we look at educations, we often just focus on the intellectual parts. But according to Dr. Barston, education is inadequate and even dangerous to society. However great its learning and skills, if it fails to achieve the culture of the heart and the development of a character that will direct that learning and skill to the welfare of man and the glory of God. We know that the learning part and the knowledge and the skills part are often what is required for an academic profession. And when we look at the heart and the characters, these are important to build the moral and ethics of a person. And when these professional people who are ethical have in mind what or how to use their knowledge and skill and ethics in the society for the welfare and the glory of God, then they become responsible citizens as well. Here I'm just telling you a little bit of how we actually help to build the character of our students. Every month we focus on one particular character. For example, here we have obedience. We give a functional definition of what obedience means in a simple way. For example, it means cheerfully carrying out the direction and wishes of those who are responsible for me. How do we show obedience? One of the ways, this is a behavior indicator, is one of the ways is I will obey my authorities immediately. Why do we have that? Why do we need to obey? As the scripture says in Romans chapter 13 verse 1, everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. This gives us a basis for why we should obey authorities. Lastly, before I end, let me just tell you a little bit about why choose us. Why choose Charis International School? First of all, we follow a curriculum, the Cambridge International Curriculum, which is globally recognized. And we are an approved Cambridge International Education Center. We focus on numeracy, scientific and digital literacy. These are emphasized. In addition to that, we have physical education, music and art to complement, because we do not want our students to be just intellectual people who are not all-rounded in other aspects. We also train our students to develop the 4 C skills of the 21st century learning, which are critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. As you have seen in the earlier slides where I explained about the global perspectives and the STEAM robotic programs, they aim to cultivate these 4 C skills of 21st century learning. And with these skills, they actually can be prepared for the Industrial Revolution 5.0 society, where we do want people who can work alongside artificial intelligence. Besides that, our school is small size class. It's a one-stop center learning all the way from kindergarten to IGCSE. We provide holistic development, and it's a safe environment. We have international staff and students that would help to enrich learning experience. And all our staffs are qualified staff. Some of the distinctiveness of our school curriculum includes this: global perspectives, STEAM robotics. These are transdisciplinary integrative learning approach. And as I would say, in our town in Tawau here, we are the only school that offers global perspectives. We are aiming to get our students to sit for this as one of the subjects for the Cambridge checkpoints as well, and gradually work towards IGCSE program, because we believe, and I sincerely believe, that this is a very important subject that is training the skills of our students to be able to adapt themselves to whatever career in the future that they may enter in. And also, in addition to this transdisciplinary learning approach, we also build their characters so that they would be morally upright people and responsible citizens in this global world. I thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you at Charis.